Welcome to the Health Conscious Living Podcast. I'm Dr. Gayle Myers, integrative medicine physician. The purpose of this show is to teach you the same framework I've used to help heal myself and hundreds of others. We'll cover lifestyle health habits, meditation, and mindset topics to unlock your potential for optimal living and thriving. Welcome to the Health Conscious Living Podcast. I'm Dr. Gayle Myers, and today's special guest is Lisa Charles. Lisa is an award-winning federal prosecutor turned singer-actress, now a wellness expert, certified health coach, consultant, and professional speaker. She is the CEO of Embrace Your Fitness. As a brain, body, and belief alignment specialist, her book, Yes, Commit, Do, Live, inspires motivation, action, and life-changing results. Welcome, Lisa.
Oh, thank you so much, Gayle. I'm so happy to be here and really having a chance to delve into a very personal and exciting topic.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's so exciting for me to have you here because you're an inspiration. I am loving your book and I can't wait to share it. Tell us about your healing journey and how you reached your yes.
Yeah, I love the question. And I always say, a lot of people start at the end of their story. But I think it's really important for people to know that we're all the same. And a lot of our strengths and our weaknesses, we've shared commonality. And for me, the heart of my story really starts when I was a very young girl. I had a view of my life. My nickname was Mary Sunshine. I saw myself as just, those early years, I can just think about all the art I used to do and the running. And what I loved was on my street, we used to play games. It was all the neighborhood kids would come out. And I was one of the only children that had a nickname. And it was Mac. And I would run down the hill and they would say, Mac, Mac, Mac. And everyone would be laughing. I'd be laughing until one day, I wasn't laughing. I was sitting in a car with my parents and across on the opposite side of the road, I saw this massive truck. And on the front of the truck was written the words Mac, big old bulldog. And it's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it was, I can say in that moment, I realized that the kids that I thought were so accepting and loving and kind and all were really making fun of me. And they were laughing at me, not with me. And everything really transitioned for me. And that was age 10. I started wearing very baggy clothes. I realized for the first time that I was overweight. Like I never really thought of myself that way, but I saw myself through the lens of someone else. And I began to define myself what I call by the it. Diet was the next thing to do. I was the digits on a scale. And I went on my first diet at age 10. 2 bananas a day and a gallon of water. And I lost weight. And everyone said, wow, that's so great. You look great. And I had this reinforcement that if you are lower on the scale, people like and love you and accept you. If you're higher in the scale, you're meant to be lonely and it isolates you. And I say that because for the next 30 years, I spent on that part of my life kind of in a prison, up and down the scale, really not really understanding why I couldn't keep it off or why it was so hard to take it off at different times and having the certain emotions that would be attached with it. And people call it something as light as yo-yo dieting, but I don't say that because yo-yos are fun and they're toys, and there's nothing great about going up and down the scale. What I realized in this is that I had to not only learn how to step on the other side of this way of thinking, but I had to be able to step and stay on the other side. And that is what brought me to really fundamentally, how do you do it? I learned it for myself without dieting. I did a 3-step process. I made it simple. I made it fun. I made it doable for myself and therefore doable for others. And, those 3 words, which I say, yes, commit, do, live. It's my book. It's what I talk about, is the key to locking me or taking me out of the prison I put myself in.
That's amazing. And your early career was amazing in itself. You are an award-winning prosecutor, and you went to law school at a time when I can imagine there weren't a lot of women in law. No.
Correct.
And I could see you as a prosecutor in court standing there and this powerhouse that you are. And it's interesting how you could be that professionally, and this is so true for all of us in professions and anyone really, we stand out in the world in our careers or how we are in the world, but internally it's a different story. And so that's when you changed your story. And the amazing thing about yo-yo dieting is, oh my goodness, yes, not yes, but no, that is exactly what's been happening to so many people, which is why I was excited to have you on the show, because you talk in your book about it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. Yes. So tell us about your transition then from being a prosecutor to then being on stage, because you're a singer. And
so for some people would look at that and say, boy, those things have nothing to do, but they have everything to do. I think a lot of our really exciting aspects of our journey in life is being able to discover all the rich things that are part of our soul, that are part of the internal core. And so I really had an opportunity, in part, I always say, nourishing that younger Lisa. I loved acting. I loved singing. I loved all of that from young. I had suppressed. I did a little bit, but I never really allowed myself to fully engage in it. I knew I'd be a lawyer from the age of 9. I made that same decision from Perry Mason, watching him. But my goal was really to help people. So I always think sometimes we're helping our little selves or our younger selves, or things we couldn't do for ourselves, we do for others. So I had danced in that field for a while. I had made the courtroom like a stage. I had enjoyed and done a number of trials, but I also was singing on the side. Had an FBI agent say to me, when are you going to do what you do on the side for your life? I had never thought of it. It really took me aback for a moment. And I realized that there was really no reason why I could not. The only thing that could stop me was the expectations of others or what others thought was right or wrong. But for myself, performing, singing, all of that was another form of healing, another form of communication, another form of helping people to move from one stage to another emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even leading into physically. And it was so crucial in my understanding, because I think every piece of our journey is done for a reason, and it may only be for a season, but if you're wise enough, you'll take the nuggets of knowledge that you got from that season, and you'll see that there is something that it fits into a greater picture of who you are. And so for me, those things they fit so wonderfully together because they were this expression of love on my part. They were expression of health and healing. But you said something earlier, and I think it's a really strong message for your viewers. You can do these things. I was standing in court. I was, as you said, I won a number of awards as a prosecutor. I was fearless. I did organized crime, all sorts of cases. But you can be that person and still have things you struggle with in silence. You can be in the limelight and doing so much and still have things that you deny yourself, even elevating it to the level of, this is something I need to deal with, or this is something I need to figure out a better way. You get used to things. And I just got to a point in my life where I didn't want to do what I'm used to. So even as a performer, I was still kind of going up and down the scale. I was still, addicted to the diets. But I always say diet for me now stands for dying internally each and every time. Because every time you go on a diet, you lose a piece of yourself. You do, because you're relying on something, this external thing to fix you, to make everything better, to, in your mind, now I'll be able to go on this stage, or I'll be able to do more television if I fit in that dress. You make these other sub-realities that aren't really in line with who you truly are. And so when I got to that point, Gayle, to say, I'm not going to diet. I'm going to transition, but I'm not going to diet. That's the only thing I said to myself. Well, I said two things. I'm not going to diet, and I'm going to enjoy the process. I didn't know how I was not going to diet and how I was going to enjoy the process. I had no idea, but I committed to those two things. And I was steadfast in it. I had to make a lot of changes, namely dumping out all the diet stuff I had at home, all the old contraptions, all the old pills, all the old powders, everything out so I couldn't fall back on old habits. And I journeyed into understanding my body. And that's really the heart of my book. Really, how do you appreciate, first of all, this amazing instrument we've been given, this brain, this body, this, your spirit? How do we even appreciate it? And then what do we do to create the magic that each element of our body can provide to our life? Like, what small things can we do? So I'm not like moving mountains, just small, beautiful steps that we can make daily that'll put us on a pathway to a life of clarity, of freedom, of purpose. And all of that lies within really kind of a step process in this.
It does. And I talk about in earlier podcast episodes, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And we're here to learn and grow and share our wisdom and our gifts. And we have these amazing bodies, like you said, that are designed to be in balance. And I think the first place that we start is by saying, I love you, body. You're amazing.
That is so open. I'm doing a 30-day challenge right now, looking in the mirror and just saying, I love you. First thing, before you say anything else, before you look at your phone, before you do all that stuff, to reset, I love you. Because the body wants to love you back. And it starts with that, I think. Sounds simple, but a lot of people don't do it. And it really has a tremendous impact on the brain.
And the body. The body responds. Because the minute you change your frequency, you change your physiology. And the body responds to that. So when you open that door, I love you. And when I was so injured after my accident, I would say to my body, I love you, body. What do you need right now? And then listen. That's the key. Because as especially a medical professional, we're taught to totally override our bodies. And because in the emergency room, in the heat of the moment, when someone is in dire health conditions, we can't just say, listen, I got to go run, or I've got to go take a nap, or
that's good.
No,
don't do that.
So just, coming back to that I love you opens the door, and then the body can respond in all its magical ways that it does.
I couldn't agree more. And I would say, one of the things that some people will say to me, well, if you haven't lived in a household of love, or you haven't been surrounded, how do you love? And so, I really,
that's a great question.
Based on my own life, I said, there are moments, even people that have been in households of love, and it's hard at that moment. And I said, if you think about it in 3 steps, the first is like letting love in. So this is when you don't have to do, all you have to do is be willing to allow the loving things that are all around you. It is music, it is, some kind of theater, something that, but it is a personal touch. It's a wonderful word. It's just in silence, someone being present with you, but you take it in, you allow that loving moment to come in. It just requires you to be open. And in the process, you allow that as more of it comes in, you become stronger enough for you to see what is the love that's inside of you. Like what types of things bring that love to the surface when you're compassionate, when you're understanding, when you're forgiving, when all these things, you start to find that in yourself. And then you start to give it out just in pieces. And that circle that you reinforce constantly your whole life through makes you really able to say with confidence and with certainty that I love you. I love myself. And it's a work. And that's the piece of it. I like to, it's a steady work. It's a beautiful work. It's a wonderful work. You learn how to process your pain better. You learn how to find areas of hope. You learn how to now, when you say to yourself, I'm going to do something. I'm not going to diet. I'm going to enjoy myself in the process because you've done a little bit of the work on loving yourself and honoring yourself. Now you can take that in a different light. Your brain takes it in a different light. It's in a different part of your brain. It's not in that, we do a lot of different things, and we put things in different compartments of our brain. And depending on where we put it is how often we'll be successful in that area. And so to kind of put it in this area where it is a part of the love of self, that I'm now saying, okay, here's some things you can do. These things you can do, and it's going to reinforce that good feeling. It's going to reinforce all the positive emotions. It's going to reinforce, it's going to limit some of the negative thoughts, just doing some simple, I call them mini SMART goals, but just really small things that please your brain, that please your body, that please your belief system, and you do them daily.
That's a great perspective. That what are you feeding your body, your thoughts, your emotions? And that, tell us about your top-down and inside-out approach, because that's where it sounds like you're explaining that to us in another way.
Yes. So what I realized for myself and sharing the story with you earlier is that if the mind is not in line with what you're asking the body to do, that's what's going to be the self-sabotager. And so many people say, I don't know why. I just was on a diet. I don't know why I did this, or I don't know why I didn't go for the job, or don't know why I procrastinate, or you can fill in the blank. People have some pocket. And so the top down, inside out really relies on the fact that we are going to align this brain, this body, and your emotions, your belief systems. We're going to align them as one because we are one person. And you're going to be one person when you're at work, with family, on your own. It doesn't matter. It's not compartmentalized pieces of your life. And so once you start to see it as this holistic, most beautiful process that you can be in, then it becomes down to, I call it the healthy healing habits. These little small habits that you do that are going to enrich you. One feeds off of the other. So for instance, when you say like the brain, something, now this is obviously we're not separate, but there are some things that really the brain just needs sleep. So one of small little habit is fixing some aspects of how you sleep. That's going to bleed into the body. Body needs movement. It just wants movement. It really needs movement. Notice I didn't say exercise. I didn't say certain number of hours of it. If you think about it along the lines of, boy, my body thrives in movement. What kind of movement will I do today? And I'm going to guarantee myself that I'm going to do at least 10 minutes of active movement a day, because anybody, I don't care what your job is, everybody has 10 minutes to put aside for this. 10 minutes done consistently far better results than the person that comes in and says, I'm doing an hour and a half this one day. Because the body is going to get so much enrichment from the 10 minutes done consistently. But also what you're doing is you're giving your body the understanding that, wow, you really mean it. You really want me to do something for you, and you're showing up. So I'm going to start to show up. So you'll start to feeling you have more energy. You show up as a better person, more, emotionally, mentally, because you're showing up for your body physically. So it's like these small things. So I always say, give me 10, even if you can't give me 10, you had 5 before you went to bed. So there's never a day that you don't do it. Every time you do it and every week, it's like your body just really responds to the honesty of you and your commitment. So that sleep, we can talk about eating, but I love that concept of every single thing you're doing. It's on this line of, well, it's just something that's really great for me. And it makes me feel good.
It's nourishing.
Yeah.
So it isn't just about food, you're nourishing your life. You're nourishing your life with laughter, with kindness, with connection. But the biggest connection of all is that soul to body connection, the connection of you to you. And your body's like, yes. That's the other side of the yes, is when the body says yes back.
And it loves it. And I always think it's like going back to where you were a baby in the womb before any. We were all whole in that way. The yes, the need and the response, and everyone's life is a little different, and some people got very separated from it, and a lot of it is just coming back. You said something really beautiful earlier, which I loved, which is stopping to listen. Because this body is speaking to us. I believe we have 2 brains, and the brain in the gut area and the brain up here, and they are speaking to us all the time and letting us know what's needed, letting us know when we're satisfied, giving us an idea of what we want, when we want it, how we want it, by what air that we breathe, the water we drink, the food that nourishes us. And that stopping and listening was a key part of my journey, a key part of that top down, inside out. It was that I listened to my body. I listened to it on movement. I made sure that each movement I did was in tune all the way through. And which means along your lines, you have to stop and listen to what your body is saying. So if you're, a quick, fun exercise that I have anyone that I start to work with is putting their back up against the wall and going down very slowly into a wall sit, breathing very intentionally and feeling each muscle as it starts to activate. And when you get to a certain point, and you know where you are in terms of your knee issues or whatever, you stay there for a moment and you really allow the muscles to start to dance and sing, because that's what they do. And you breathe into, with intensity, where you feel them singing the most. You squeeze it. And I call it like, you feel it and you fire it up. And then you come back up and you make this new connection. So the brain's like, okay, wow, I felt these. It wasn't just my leg muscles. It was in a sequence. As you do that, you can start to call those muscles to work when you want them. Once you reconnect, make the connection again. And imagine doing this through every muscle in your body. Nice and slow, with breath, understanding. Now when you do movement like walking, or you're in a class, or you're dancing, you can start to really understand what movements, what muscles need to be worked, how to call them, how to fire them up, how to ease them off. You become really a mastery of this amazing instrument. And you can play it like an instrument, like an orchestra.
Oh, that's fabulous. I love that. I can't wait to try it. I find a lot of times, well, especially in the evening at night, to start relaxing the muscles. So it's the reverse of what you're talking about. Oh, that muscle's tense. I need to relax that. I need
And
to
that's beautiful.
relax.
And you tense it up purposefully and then feel with and tie it with the breath, that exhalation and the release of the muscle. And it's all these things that's brilliant because you're just retraining your body to understand for that. You do it at night, but think some people are listening and saying, wow, I'm in this real tense meeting. I'm in the meeting. I can tense certain muscles, breathe and exhale and let them go. And I don't care. I was always showing people. When I transitioned into the wellness space and created my business, I was in the hospital systems, and one of the things that I love to do was working with nurses and doctors, administrators, because I felt they were giving so much, and they were so stressed. And how could I come in and show them? Even I worked with some OR nurses, and even in the OR,
Yes.
that you can have moments where you can find, through this kind of use of muscle relaxation and breath work, just 30-second of peace so that you can reset to do what you need to do and come back at it with more clarity for the next patient or whatever you're having. So it's a power that we have. Most people don't use it, but it's a power that has, transformational health benefits.
Absolutely. And it helps all the nerves to reset, to refire again, so that your muscles can work better. Your brain will work better. So those little moments of resets are key because we have this tendency to push, push, push. And and it's our society. And we also have this concept that, we won't pay attention until it screams so loudly that we
Yes.
have to stop and take care of ourselves. And so I think your message,
Yes.
so I think your message and my message is don't wait. Start now. You don't need
Yes.
to have a breakdown before you have a breakthrough. You can step into your wellness right this minute. And you're giving us amazing tips that really are so actionable that it's like take one thing, like you said, and then you do the next thing, and there you build your momentum and the body responds.
And you enjoy the process.
Yes.
So I lost over 77 pounds.
Amazing.
And I did it. But this time around, when I did it, it was many years ago, I decided two things. I wouldn't deprive myself. Like I wouldn't say, okay, I won't buy a dress until I lose 25 pounds, or I won't go out with friends until I do X. What I said was I was going to honor the changes that my body made the whole time, really celebrate them. I would find the things I love to do. And so the movements that please me, I wasn't just going to do a movement because someone said, get on the treadmill. No, I wanted to find things that I like to do. So I knew that they would incorporate into my life. And then some of those things, I wouldn't necessarily make it exercise moments. I'd make it just fun moments with friends, if we're walking, going bike riding, for swimming. These are wonderful things for your body, but they're also just wonderful things in general because it brings you in community. So I think that framework really changed. And I just let my body help to dictate where it wanted to land, where it felt comfortable, where I felt good, and I didn't have to obsess in any way, shape, or form. And it was probably one of the most healing things. I talk about, having sung at Carnegie Hall, which was amazing, some of the trials I had, but my ability to do this thing that had haunted me from age 10, and to do it in a way that was healthy, to do it in a way that was honoring of the body, that's the power. And what I wanted to do, I think, with the book was say, some people make it so complicated, or it's got to be thousands of dollars, or, they put these mountains in front of you. I was a member, what is it called? Lifetime member of 3 different diets. That should tell you something. That's not telling you that it works. That's telling you something opposite. So to be able to say, you know what, I'm a lifetime of my own body, and my own body understood. And once I gave it the tools, how to eat for excellence, how to kind of get into this ageless mentality, that it didn't matter. That's just a number. It has nothing to do with taking care of my muscles, taking care of my movement. All of those things really transformed me from the top down, inside out. It really opened up a whole new area of passion, my career, my speaking. But I just wanted to see if I could do something to help people not go down the road that I was going down.
What you're giving us here is pure gold, because what you're saying is become a playmate with your body, not a drill sergeant.
Yes.
And so much of the time we've been drill sergeants. Like you said, I won't buy that dress until I've lost 25 pounds. It's not realistic. And it's not loving, and it's not fun. But when you say, wow, I'm going to enjoy today, I'm going to go take this walk with my friend and have some, a really meaningful conversation, and we're moving at the same time.
Yes.
So much creativity happens when you're moving, and because of it. And then you nourish your body in a way that is loving. It's a friend having a meal with a friend. So when we befriend ourselves, then we become our best friend, our best ally, and our playmate. And so that's going to resonate in the world, in all of our relationships, in all of our professions, and with our families, and how we communicate. So that is really beautiful. You took this wisdom that you gained and you shared it with the Rutgers University Aging and Brain Health Alliance. And you were the fitness and wellness research coordinator. And you worked with healthcare professionals. Was it during the pandemic or?
Yeah, so very interestingly, I was working in the neurology department. They had never had a health coach, wellness coach, and I think this to me is just when you are in your passion, in your purpose, things and opportunities can come your way. So there was a research person that was she was leaving for another position, and we had met years before. I was working at the time in the hospital, training and putting together programs, some community programs for the hospital. And she said, I think you'd be really great to execute this grant. What we were looking at is why African Americans are twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's and dementia. And as a sub part of it, Black and Brown communities sleep about 2 hours less than other communities. So in this particular study, they were looking at how exercise really has a powerful implication on brain health. And for this, it was seniors. So they had done this, a larger portion of the study. Now we were on a 3-year portion of the study. I had about, there were 2 sections to it, but I had about 20 different seniors, all over the ages of 60. They were exercising a certain amount. I came in, my job was to really keep people very focused in the study, staying in the study, helping to do, everything with the fitness side of it, but then also giving them a wellness component where they had an understanding of sleep and other aspects. It was transformational for me to hear from a neurology department, their perspective of the power of sleep, and how much more important that was than what I was hearing from the fitness and wellness community. So that was my opportunity to combine both and give people that kind of knowledge. So the seniors, half of the study was before COVID, and then COVID hit, and it was very devastating. You mentioned about relationship and community. And that's so crucial to our ability to live. I won't even put it on, just health. It's not just health, because sometimes we put that in a small category. Our living ability is how we create relationship, relate to others. And a lot of the seniors live by themselves. So we had to move to Zoom, but we kept that nugget of the wellness portion. And I remember the state director saying, you have an opportunity, you're going to help people to stay alive, because was my goal. Like, I needed everyone that was a part of it. And we opened it up to even more seniors to come on steadily during the week and via Zoom, but really keeping them connected, which is such another very, very important part of brain health that came from me, is those connections that we have keep you really healthy in so many different ways. So it was a real blessing that experience. It was a grant. Sorry that it ended with a COVID. Because as you know, with studies, they need people to be there to be able to finish it out in the ways that they want it. But from the standpoint of people understanding their bodies, understanding health, sharing with them this whole aspect of getting in line with your body, the importance of muscle work, but the importance of also, and you kind of touched on this, which is, how do you be present? You be present for yourself to listen fully to what your body's saying. You be present with others to be able to really relate and create relationship. You're present in your exercise, so you're not just throwing your body around. I used to say, you're just throwing your body around, like you're not breathing. You don't have any idea. It's like so if you slow it down, sometimes you get a better sense of what your body is asking you and what it can do. And you slow it down when you're eating, so oh, okay, wow, I've had enough, or my body's craving more of this, and it needs, it's looking for this for more mineral balance. Your body will be very detailed for you in terms of what it says, but you will never hear it if you're moving at lightning speed and never taking time to be present.
Right. And not listening. Your contribution was profound on so many levels. And you took it then, and now you've got your Reinventing the Woman Tribe. Tell us about that and your transformational global retreats.
Yeah, so just briefly, we put together a retreat. Our first retreat was in the Dominican Republic last year. And we had such an outpouring of women. We had such, there was women of all ethnicities, all ages, some mother-daughters. People came and left with amazing breakthroughs and in understanding themselves and understanding their relationships with others. And there was such a need to continue it. And so we created this, what we call Reinventing the Woman Tribe. And it is an international group of women. I'm so happy, women from South Africa and from Canada and England, and of course throughout the States, that are gathered with the goal of really doing this piece of life together, building this community as we advance our careers, as we advance our wellness, our health. I call it wellness in top side, inside and out, because it's everything. And I love the idea of not breaking down any limits people put on themselves and any boxes they may place on themselves. So we meet every week. We have amazing guests. And then we do these incredible retreats. We have the next one, it's in Tulum, Mexico, November 9th through the 13th. It's a healing beyond pain retreat, where it's really very, very focused on some of the things we talked about. What are the prisons you may have put yourself in mentally, emotionally? Let's make breakthroughs with that. At the same time, creating these healthy healing habits in the most beautiful place, going to some of the locations that really promote that kind of healing. So excited on all score, but really very excited about the membership and excited for the activities we do, like Tulum, Mexico.
Oh, that sounds great. Oh my goodness. And a great time of year to be doing it.
Yeah.
So Lisa, as we finish up, what 3 things would you like to share with the audience?
Yes. I think the biggest thing is that your roadmap forward is really very simple. And I want you to know that it doesn't have to be complicated. I want you to know that it can be fun. It can be ageless in mind, body, and spirit. And if you think of anything, I want you to think of commit, do, live. I want those words to be in your mind when you are embarking on doing something. You have to commit to it with compassion for yourself. You have to do. The do is so important to unlocking the freedom for you to move. It's the actions that you take. And the live means you just take those principles and you live them boldly, and you live them with all passion, and you live them with purpose. And these three things is what's going to build that resilience in your body. It's going to build that resilience in your life. And it's just going to put you on the plane to living the life that you were put here to live.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Lisa, how can people reach you and find you on social media?
Yeah, so, my website is Yes Coach Lisa. I help you find your true yeses. So yescoachlisa.com. And then I'm Lisa Embrace Fitness on Instagram. And I always say this for certain audiences, because this is my business number. I'm going to give you my number. I love people to text me. And if you have a question or you have something else or you want to hear more about anything, I am open to a text. Your community is my community. So my number is 973-704-2214. And I welcome any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you. Thank you. What an incredible guest you've been today. What an honor.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope today's episode helped you adopt more tools to implement daily. Choose change, look within, see your inner wisdom already exists, and live your optimal health. If this inspires you, I invite you to share this on your favorite social platform, share it with a friend, or just help us spread the importance of health-conscious living. For more health lifestyle tips, check out healthconsciousinc.com, sign up for my email, and follow me at Gayle Myers MD on Instagram. Hit the subscribe button. I'd love for you to give a 5-star review and leave your comments or questions. Until next week, rejoice in the health that you have.